Welcome to episode number 2, and thank you so much for being here. So, this is episode number 2 of The Singletons. I know you may wonder what does that mean. So, I have decided to divide the Take Me to the Moon podcast into two different sections. One is going to be the more mainstream version, the original idea, the classical podcast with visuals whenever I get my camera back. And it will be, by the way, dropping this month in March 2026. I will have a different guest for every episode, and there also will be a different topic for every episode. The other section will be this one, the singletons, where I'll keep this no visual, no camera vibe. It will be more of an informal type of podcast where it's just me and the listener, and we dig a little bit deeper, and it's about introspection and just more of a shoulder to lean on, almost if you're talking to your best friend about mental health, and if you just really want to get a lot of suggestions on how to tackle this thing called life and love yourself back to life and learn. So, for this second episode, I want to approach it entirely different from what I did the first time around. And therefore, I will mostly go with the flow and I will try to do a one and done type of recording to keep the editing at a minimum, opposite of what happened the first time around, in which I just re recorded a concept 4 times until I got to speak as fast as possible. It ended up just being counterproductive because it didn't sound very natural. So, by the way, if you take notes, guys, if you ever think about doing a podcast, yeah, I don't think that is the best way to go. It's also very, very time consuming, and ain't nobody got time for that. So you will hear me be more, make mistakes, take longer to think, and etc. Um, and that's exactly what this episode is aiming to be, which is real. So, for example, this car alarm going off just now, I don't know if you guys heard it, but I'm going to keep it in there. I'm not going to re record it. So, with that being said, what is the topic of this episode? The topic is you about to find out as you listen. We'll discover it together. I'm just going to let the words come out and see where that transports us. What I can promise, though, is that it's going to be instructional, beneficial, and relatable to the grand majority of us. So we'll touch on a bunch of different topics. I believe the line in which I would like to keep it, though, is still regarding healing and perhaps deepening some concepts that I already touched on episode 1. But we'll see where this goes. Let's start with something that I did know, though, that I wanted to speak about, which is a understanding of the phrase healing is not linear. I know we all have repeatedly experienced instances in which we thought that we made 3 steps forward and then we find ourselves apparently making 7 back. And so in those moments, the confusion and the fear that may arise will have you questioning if your progress was even ever real, if you ever gone anywhere, and or are you just running around in circles essentially and a lost case. So to guide you through those type of emotions and questions of life, I've written something down that will make it all pretty clear. Okay, let me see if I can find it first. All right. Okay. Healing comes in layers because so does illness. Let me explain. Before a sickness reaches an alarming or chronic state, it starts with small symptoms, minor disturbances that, if ignored, accumulate in a pile of gunk that, through time, becomes one major issue that cannot be ignored anymore. Same on the mental and emotional and spiritual health planes. Stuff that we might brush under the carpet or don't fully process will eventually turn into chronic system overload. But what I want us to focus on here is the layers aspect. It's like a lasagna or an onion in Shrek's words. And by the way, did you guys ever see Shrek's movies? Like, they're absolutely amazing. Some of my favorites. So because it is like a lasagna and it does have layers, you are going to heal layer by layer. You heal one layer, and for a while, you're going to experience the benefits of it. You're going to be floating in midair, thinking that the pile of gunk is completely gone. But what we may not be aware of is the fact that the, the time to face the next layer when you feel safe enough is going to arise eventually. And we mistake the next layer for the whole pie, right? Like we think we see the gucky shit again, like the depression comes back and we're like, oh, here I go. I made no progress. When all along you have successfully cleared and completed a whole layer of your trauma, of your healing. And you're getting one step closer to the end of that pile of shit, quote unquote. And it takes time, and it doesn't all happen at once. Your system couldn't possibly manage it, for so to say. So it doesn't happen 0 to 100 in this case. Going backwards actually only happens when we stick to the icky mindset for months at a time because it cements. Then you're basically creating a new layer. However, even when that happens, sometimes we actually do go backwards, but then perhaps months to a year later, or maybe even just a couple of weeks, we're able to clear 4 layers with the same speed that it used to take us to clear one. So that's why they say healing is not linear as well. You always do still have time to, well, not always, but but this maybe depression or anger only lasts a couple of days to some hours. Then give yourself mercy and try to see it as an opportunity to actually release it, because once it comes out up, that's when it can come out. I do want to mention, and I guess here we're going into another topic, that it's important in life to find a balance between learning and living. Life is not a constant test, because too much of anything is just not good. It's a little bit like cooking, like a recipe. If you use too much salt, salt is essential. However, if you use too much, it fucks up the whole plate. And so balance is always key. Also, I do want to say that there is a big difference between depression and sadness. This is very, 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 very important. So we're about to delve into that a little bit, and then I'm gonna have you guys listen to a piece of what I recorded during the depressive episode, and so we'll go from here. Let me go find my notes on sadness. 1 second. And no, you guys, I haven't wrote these down just for these podcasts. This is shit that I've been had written down for some time now. So, but yeah. Ah, geez, Louise. Okay. Uh, I'm gonna go on a general line and then we're gonna dissect it. All right. Sadness is sacred. Depression is a little dangerous. Sadness is soul generated, and depression is mind generated. Sadness is a compass that will guide you to what you need to find that is missing. Depression is a compass that will guide you to what you need to leave behind. Um, so, what they're similar in is the fact that they both are giving you an alarm and a message. And just because depression is mostly mind generated, it doesn't make it any less real. But depression is more of an accumulation of a myriad of different things that, different turns, wrong turns that you might have taken. And is most likely linked to years of stored trauma and such, or brushed under the carpet. Like I said, it's more like that lasagna. And depression is almost like the freaking plastic bag that the lasagna gets delivered in. Like, right, depression almost like puts it all together in a beautiful bowl and is like, here, your delivery, your order to life, what you have so far accumulated. Okay, that is depression. Sadness is more related to recent happenings, and at the core it just needs to be listened to, and then it will leave on its own. Depression will not leave on its own. Just think about this is how I came to this conclusion in my head. The first emotions that a human ever has as a baby are usually joy and sadness, and maybe other things, but essentially sadness is there when we are at our purest form. So why wouldn't it be something generated by the soul? Because a baby doesn't yet have all the pollution that the mind brings as we go on with life. And sadness is very important to listen to when you're a newborn, because that is giving the alarm, that is allowing the baby to even get fed, because when the baby cries, it's like, okay, I need this is missing, I need my diaper changed, right? That is their way of communication that there is a need there. And spoiler alert, ding ding ding, ring ding ding, that does not change when we are grown-ups. It is an alarm mostly to yourself now that you are not fulfilling something that you're meant to fulfill, that you there's something missing that is supposed to be there that is not there. All right, guys, I'm back in the car. The audio might be a little bit better now. But yes, I feel like I expressed it well enough. Let's see, maybe I can divulge on the. Is that how you say it? Divulge? I wish I could talk in my own language. But let me explain a little bit more about depression. Um, Depression, like I said, it is a compass of things, people, places, and habits that you need to let go of. Until you pop that bitch open, until you rip that plastic bag apart, you're not even gonna be able to get to the lasagna in the first place to start working on your trauma, to start heal. Depression is a huge break. It's almost like a your entire system shutting down on you and not even allowing you to start the process of healing the layers of the lasagna. Depression is a very drastic measure of semi protection, but just exhaustion, mental exhaustion that your mind acquires, creates this almost impenetrable layer that is gonna take some cojones, a lot of patience, and a lot of resilience to undo, to open, to break that fucking plastic bag open so that you can even work on the lasagna. And it's so disheartening and interesting at the same time how many of us suffer from depression nowadays, when depression is supposed to be such a drastic state that it shouldn't be as common as it is nowadays. And this is just goes to prove just how much we are overworked, we are misdirected, we are away from our life purposes being, and just how much also I don't want to blame everything on us as individuals. This system, it is designed to go against us, either it was done purposely or not. The matter of the fact is that the system, the way the rhythm of the system is designed, it doesn't go with our natural biological clock. It doesn't go with the way that God designed us to function at our best ability, and it does 100% set us up for failure if we're not very careful. So it's staggering how many people do have depression because of many factors, but that is 100% one of the most common ones. Our environment, how I got out of depression, like I mentioned, I mean, that would be a completely different video because it would take so long to explain. So I'm not even going to go there. But, listen to podcasts like these. Go under the sunlight. Sun helps a lot. Maybe take some magnesium. Magnesium helps your the mind. I don't know what's it called, but take magnesium and Google why that's good for depression. Okay, and start eating better food as well, because the more that your gut is like your second brain. So the more that your gut is busy processing heavy food, the less energy your brain will have to give you driven solutions for your life. And know that there is a way out. And I promise you that, Mark, cross my heart. And I'm getting emotional because I remember how hard it was on those days in which it seems like there is no way out. It's not. You have a way out. You have a way out. You have a way out. Just rip that bitch apart. You're stronger than what you think. Okay. Last but not least, la 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 la. And of course, you can have both sadness and depression. I was one of those, and a days still am. But when I tell you that sadness really does feel different, because sadness sometimes is freeing, is uplifting when you listen to it. So how do you listen to sadness and her message, and you honor it and pay respect to it? Literally by tuning into it and expressing it. So with tears or whatever it is that comes up. Sometimes it's crazy. I notice sometimes like I feel so sad and maybe I'm driving. I'm like, okay, let me really like cry for 3 minutes. Like if I feel like crying, it's not a forcing, but if the tears do want to come out, you let them come out. And literally after 2 minutes of crying, it's like nothing ever happened. I feel completely normal again. Sometimes it literally just needs to be released. And the more you will release it and you will listen to it, it will literally tell you what it is that you're missing. I also wanted to reiterate real quick that when I re-listen to myself, I just sound so motivational, so positive and go-getter. And I know I already mentioned that that's, I just want you guys to realize that even like once I'm done recording this, right? I might go back to my job. I might go, start washing the dishes and just feel like just alone or feel all of the yucky feelings. Like it's just because you have knowledge on things. It doesn't mean that automatically they all magically apply and activate into your system. Like you got to put in the work for that to happen. And for me, it has been a consistent work when I do manage to stay consistent. With that being said, do I also get my moments of bliss where everything that I'm saying right now, I truly feel in my bones, where I feel extremely connected to my better self, to God, where to my son, to my life, where I see the glass half full? Absolutely. Like I said, it's the whole spectrum of things, where unconditional love just hits me and I'm able to hold on to it for a while. It's a little bit like going in and out of your your old timeline and your new timeline meaning the just like this way of walking life. And especially when you're in the breakthrough of fully embodying, you're gonna go in and out a lot. And even when you take residence into heaven on earth, um, you still will have ups and downs because you're a human, and that's what humans will do. It's just part of you, so that's okay. And I'm saying this because I recently just had maybe 3 to 4 days ago my first depressive episode in such a long time, and it was extremely strong. And when I tell you that even with all this knowledge that I have on these topics, on that day it felt like none of it was real. I have made zero progress, gone nowhere with my life. It's almost like when these moments hit you like this, either it's depression or whatever it is, the demons that you're fighting, um, you almost get amnesia. Like you forget everything that you learned, you forget your progress, you literally get amnesia because it takes over you so powerfully. And I did start thinking though that sometimes this amnesia might be by design, because otherwise what kind of test would it be if like you just like remember everything and you just know how to act? Sometimes like we feel exactly how it is that we felt the one time that we couldn't overcome it. So sometimes we feel, right? We feel exactly, like for example, if we have anger issues and then we go to anger management classes and we know that's not right and we want to act better, then when is the moment that we get triggered again and we get very angry? It's like all of that goes out the window. But because why? Because that feeling comes back exactly how we left it, so that this time we get a chance to do it the right thing. It felt like I was literally back to like 6 years ago, and it felt like real. Like it was not, it was terrifying. But what did I do? And I didn't do nothing specific. I just sat with it the whole day, and I trusted my inner word, that my inner word, word. I don't know what I'm saying, but I just trusted my inner instinct that that feeling was temporary and it was gonna be gone the next day. The acknowledgement, the awareness that it was just a temporary layer of lasagna was sufficient. And I think that was my breakthrough. That's what this layer of lasagna wanted to teach, to let go of control, for so to say. There's going to be some days in which you just don't have it at all. It's better if you just throw the whole day away. I did do a couple of things, like for example, I did a 15-minute ab workout. Even while I was depressed, I was literally like almost crying while doing my ab workout, but I did my ab workout. So it's little things like that, right? I also, towards the end of the night, I decided that I wanted to try to record a podcast episode while being depressed because I wanted to be real but I might include a small little section of it right here, but I'm definitely not ready to drop that podcast episode. And my depression turned into anger as I was speaking, and it was a beautiful and interesting episode, but it is just not ready for the crowds yet. So maybe another day when I'm depressed again. Hopefully not anytime soon. So I'm gonna insert it. Okay, drum rolls, please. You guys ready? Do not judge, and action. Welcome to episode 2 or episode 3. I don't know what episode this is gonna be. And wow, haha, I made a rhyme. As you guys may be able to tell, my tone of voice is very, maybe, perhaps different from the other episodes. And I decided today to go ahead and record a video while having a depression episode. I think this is also important to not always try to sound like a jolly, all positive and especially if you don't always feel like that. I mean, who does, right? Only psychopaths or people that don't know shit about nothing. People that, anyways, I'm not here to talk about people. I don't even know what I'm here to talk about. I'm just gonna let the message flow as I go. That's okay. If this is not for you, then log off, baby. Wait for the next episode. Thank you. Honestly. Oh, that's what I was thinking of. That I don't feel like talking, so I'm like, okay, so why are you on here? Why are you talking on the microphone? But it's because my head wouldn't let me not do that. I just started feeling like I started getting like downloads. I guess that's what they're called. Like just simply like ideas and messages and things that I could say in my next podcast. I was like, okay, that's great, but this is not the moment for that. And also I just started feeling, and then I had this little idea, like maybe this is the moment for that. Maybe I should just fucking get on the mic while I'm feeling like the last piece of shit on earth. I don't know. I guess this is the point of depression. Yeah, I'm about to hop into another point without knowing if I finished my previous one. Fuck it. I guess this is the point of depression. Oh yeah, this is one of the things that I wanted to say while I was laying down that I forgot about. The point of depression is that you don't know why. Sometimes you don't know why you feel like that. You don't know why out of the blue you fucking feel like all of the progress, all of the like you're just is the world cave in on you with no warning, with no apparent direct reason. Like there is nothing that happened different. It might nothing particularly bad, nothing. So why do I feel like this? And me asking
Me not knowing why, I realized it's always been the hardest fucking thing on me. It's not that I just don't know why, it's that I have too many answers as to why. And I don't know which one it is. Grown the place, and it just, I. What am I even saying, you guys? Like, this is not going nowhere. This is a fucking self therapy session, and me just throwing it out there to do whatever is the fucking poor listener. It's almost like egocentric, isn't it? Isn't it egocentric? Like, I'm just talking about my fucking issues and thinking that that'll help somebody. But what am I gonna do? Put this online for what? For who? For me? I mean, I guess that sounds like a good enough reason. Doing it for me. I don't really need a.
Oh, okay, you guys. We are back in the present moment, and this is Happy Luna speaking now. I'm actually soaking in the sun and listening to the birds, and I don't know if you can hear the wind. Hi, wind. You want to say something? Okay. Yes, I'm crazy like that. All right. Ooh, I love the wind. Let's see here. I wrote down some notes while I was at work. Okay. No, wait. Never mind. Where is it? Ah, Luna. Luna, baby girl. Let me see you dance. Let me see you twirl. Where did I write it? Okay, here it is. We're now going to move on onto the final topic. And surprisingly enough, is going to be about psoriasis and eczema, which are skin conditions. And hold on to your horses if you do not suffer from those. You will still find great enlightenment because, of course, I'm going to branch off a little bit and talk about related topics, but mostly because those skin conditions are deemed uncurable. There is not a cure for it to this day. There's only things that will make the symptoms less strong, and I essentially healed it by myself. And I will break it down to you, listeners, as to on how a little bit. I once again not going full on into detail because that would be a completely separate video. But I will give the basics, and surprise, surprise, I healed it because the cause um, to that illness was not stemming from my physical body. Before we get started on that we're listening to my recording during the depression quote unquote podcast. It does sound like I sound more normal during that moment than I even do when I record these. Um, yeah, it's because I was just completely carefree, careless. I didn't care how it was gonna sound. Versus, well, I'm doing these when I'm in a normal state of mind. I'm trying to, you know, trying to make this shit good. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to teach. I'm trying to all of those things. So how I even got into speaking about that condition was because I was approfondire. I need to find a word in English. Okay, one second, you guys. Let's because this is pissing me off because I keep thinking about Italian words that are perfect to say what I want to say, and then in English there is not like English doesn't have as many words and expressions, and that is highly aggravating. Oh, I'm not connected to the internet. Great. I guess we're not never gonna know. Oh, 7:37. I'm in the parking lot while my son is doing boxing. That's why. But he should be coming out right about now. Um, so how about I continue this once I get back to the house and I put some food in my stomach, and I predict this episode to turn to roughly be around 1 hour, like it was the other one. So if you guys also want to take a pause, go eat something, take a walk, get your mind off things, or integrate all everything that you have learned today. Um, go bum a smoke. I don't know. Nah, do not let me be a bad influence. Um, yeah. See you guys soon. Okay, here we are. We're back. So how we're gonna go into the next topic is because we're picking back up from something I mentioned at the beginning of the video, which was that sometimes life needs to be learned and some other times it needs to be lived. It became sorry. It became clear just how much both are vital to unlocking life, a better life, and even more so how the mix of the both, like the balance in between the both, is extremely beneficial and important. Um, on the other hand, the this imbalance of them, the when there is too much or too little of either or, it becomes pretty damaging. But you know, not in a drastic way, but in a more of like a slow burn damage. It's important to be able to discern when is the moment to apply yourself and when is the moment to completely surrender. I used to be on the end of the scale that was being too hard on myself, aka constantly trying to learn something or thinking that there is always something to be accomplished or life is a test. This constant inner pressure and a little bit of an inner critic. And I also actually used to absorb my surroundings and my family emotions, their mental and emotional states. Usually, this is what empaths and healers will do. By the way, either they are aware of it or not. I used to do it since very early childhood, and seeing and understanding things that deeply from a young age made me subconsciously, when I was very young, want to put all the weight on my shoulders, to take responsibilities that maybe wasn't even mine to take. And I wasn't really aware that that's what I was doing at a young age. It started becoming more evident as I was growing. And this is closely linked to how I got and healed my eczema. But we will get there shortly because right now I just want to divulge a little bit more on what I just said as far as when you know a lot, it can become a burden. Also, I want to say that we are going to talk about the other end of the scale, right? YOLO or whatever, but and we're going to talk about protectors as well because this for speaking of healers, we also must mention protectors. I also did want to mention that I understand that during these two episodes, they've been a little bit more heavy, a little bit more introspective, raw, like, like the heavy stuff. The third episode is gonna be completely straight on talking about the light, and it will be very refreshing, very rejuvenating. But yeah, you know, the first step is always to remove the dust, and then you can put the decorations on top of it. So this is what we're doing in these two episodes. We're removing the dust. So let me though get back to what I was saying as far as knowing a lot. People that are very intelligent or very that are healers. This is a weight that we all carry, which is just because we know, then we expect of ourselves to do better. You know, because they say, oh, if you know, you do better. But that's not always the case because when you know so much, how could you possibly apply it all and then all at the same time? And on top of that, at a young age, but even when you're a grown up, right? Sometimes we just know so many things, sometimes it becomes a burden. That's why they say that ignorance is bliss. And that's why throughout human history, some of the most grandiose minds and geniuses always turned up being crazy because having that much knowledge can absolutely be a deterrent at times unless you realize. You put in there the living life part, right? The Hakuna Matata, the YOLO, the is not that deep, and all of those vibes. However, one without the other just doesn't cut it. Because anything, because too much of anything is not good. This also applies to the other end of the scale, where the it is what it is can turn into a downplay of life, a downplay of oneself, and an excuse, just simply like a, it's almost like a lie that they end up telling themselves, right? Where self-preservation becomes so intense that it can turn into an inability to see things for what they are around, um, turns into denial, and an inability once again to take accountability also. And this would be more so maybe like the protectors, people that are protectors more so than healers. They have this beautiful capability of almost immunity to they don't attach to other people's emotions as much as healers do, and they're able to stay grounded in their own energy, and they're able to kind of shut out the rest of the world around them, which in a way is very productive. And I wish that and I mean, I'm learning to do so, but I wish that it would have been more easier for me throughout my life to do so. But on the other end of the scale, right, when it becomes too much, the danger part of that is that they might be completely oblivious to just how much they might hurt or affect other people. When healers are out of balance, they hurt themselves. And when protectors are out of balance, they hurt others. Okay? Both are equally bad, equally damaging. Because hurting yourself is gonna indirectly hurt others, and hurting others is gonna indirectly hurt yourself. Also, when healers are out of balance, their vital and useful knowledge will turn into overthinking, and their God given healing can turn into smothering or pressure. And when protectors are out of balance, their vital protection can actually turn them into the perpetrator, completely oblivious to just how much they might hurt or affect other people. You end up becoming an asshole. You end up becoming tapped out with reality. However, protectors are called that for a reason. So once they once they lock in on somebody, and they become very laser focused on the well-being of whoever they lock onto, that a lot of times is a quality, becomes a deterrent when that results in them giving their power away, and not be able to. The danger is that they might not, because they're so hard-headed, and they might not be able to discern who to put their energy on. Also, there is the risk that when they are out of balance, anything but what they're laser focused on will seem and read as a threat. And that will send them in overdrive and survival mode. And this laser focus that they possess, it prohibits them, it stops them, it hinders them from maybe realizing, fuck, I was wrong, or maybe like it's gonna take them so much longer than, for example, what would take a healer to realize that they was wrong, because they don't want to even hear it, they don't want to look at it, they don't, it's like they got the blinders next to their eyes like the damn horses. When protectors are out of balance, they give their power away. When healers are out of balance, they overgive, which sounds like almost the same thing, and it could almost be, but not quite. What else before we hop on to the next topic? Let me see. Because this is a pretty cool little detour that this just took, I think. Because actually, I don't think I ever heard I don't think I ever heard no shit like this nowhere. So maybe let's say something else a little bit. Okay, yes. What I did wanted to say is that even though it is true that both healers and protectors could give their gift away to the wrong people, quote unquote, there is really no wrong people necessarily, because even when it did end up turning out to be um I don't even want to call it a waste of time, but you guys know what I mean. At the end of the day, everybody needs healing, right? And everybody can benefit from protection. So even when healers and protectors end up losing themselves by trying to give to others, even when there is a out of balance, it's still always out of love, and it's still always like healers and protectors are sacred. You know what I mean? Like the we yeah, okay, like let's tread lightly here, because protectors go through a lot, they just don't express it, and they don't show it. Also, sometimes there could be protectors that become healers, or you know, develop their healing capabilities a little later on in life. And also there is healers that also become protectors and warriors. I am one of those. Life forced me into being a warrior, and at the end of the day, healing is protection, and at the end of the day, protection is healing. So the two do go hand in hand, and I almost like the two faces of the same coin. Um, let's see. Yeah, the disimbalance in society nowadays is that a lot of the times healers end up healing people that have no intention to heal to begin with, and do not maybe desperately need as much healing as a protector would, because a protector has gone to battle. And on the other hand, protectors might end up protecting people that, quite frankly, it turns out never really needed their protection that bad after all. And for sure, not as much as a healer would have needed it, because healers also do go to battle. Okay, sorry guys. We went, not sorry, actually, you're welcome, but we went off topic again a little bit. We took a little detour, unexpected detour. We're going to go back to what I was saying, and I think I'm just gonna attach here the audio of what I recorded earlier today first. And so I'm gonna go back to using as a reference the healer prototype, the learning being too hard on yourself end of the scale, because that's I'm a healer, and so that's what I can speak on, because that's what I am the most informed about. Very last topic, and I'll make this one very short because it's getting a long video, and perhaps I'll continue it on the next episode, aka to be continued. Re-interlacing with what I was mentioning earlier, that life needs to be learned and lived both to keep a balance. When I was a little child, from I believe 7-year-old to all the way to 20, I used to suffer from eczema, which is a very bad skin condition that it gets very, very itchy, to the point in which I used to have it on my arm, near my elbow, just on the other side of the arm. And the skin would get so hard and irritated that, as I sometimes when you scratch, and this is a little TMI, but it used to bleed. That's how bad it would get. Doctors still nowadays will tell you that there is no cure for it. They do not understand necessarily why that happens. They don't have a cure for it. It's not allergies. And essentially, they give you a cortisone chemical cream and tell you good luck. You know, I remember still to this day, the day that the doctor told me, you're going to have this for the rest of your life. Because I was having a very bad flare up. It was even like a little bit on my face. And she gave me a cortisone cream. And what I did is I walked out of her office and I threw the shit in the trash. I didn't even open the cream. And I said, no, I'm healing this. So if you want to hold on to your seats, you guys, and know how did I do that, I hope that there is one listener that might know somebody that suffers from this as well, so that they can pass on the suggestions. Otherwise, it's still going to be interesting for anybody listening, because didn't the cause of the issue did not stem from my physical body. It was a psychosomatic reaction, meaning that it's something that is caused from your psychological emotional state, and then it manifests into the body. And that's exactly why the doctors don't have and don't understand it and don't have a cure for it, because they're looking in the wrong place. That's why nothing is fucking working. It's like putting a band-aid on a open wound, on an open scar that needs to be sutured to be like. Anyways, um I always go off topic, you guys. I try not to go off topic. Is my ADHD. If you're ADHD, Betty, then you can relate. If you're not, then learn something new today. This is how we speak. Unless you were medicated, which I'm not. I've never been. Um, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. How did I heal it? The turning point was when I started realizing that I was being too hard on myself about the smallest little things, and that I was carrying a lot of weight on my shoulders. And on top of that, as an empath, I was carrying my mother's emotional state on my shoulders, my brothers, my family dynamic. I would feel their emotions. I would like basically just not know that it was theirs. And I would also put it upon myself subconsciously to fix it. And when that wouldn't be achieved, I would punish myself, quote unquote, with that condition on my body. Consciously, I also knew, but it wasn't me trying to fix them. It was more so me trying to fix myself and my reactions and my triggers to their behaviors. I literally still have notebooks from when I was like 17, 16, writing down, okay, today I got mad with my mom. Why did this trigger me? How did this trigger me? How can I make it better? Blah, 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 which it is good. Like, it seems like a good project and all, but like I said, it's always about balance. Anywho, the turning point has been when I started telling myself, I love you, it's okay, it's not your weight to carry, I forgive you, etc., etc., etc. I don't want to be hard on myself. And I started really meditating. Like, anytime my skin will start to itch and flare up, I still remember those moments. I would lay on my couch and I would focus on my body. So I would feel the pain, and it would be pretty lacerating pain. And I would not scratch myself. I would just lay there, allow the pain to exist. And as the pain was happening, I would tell myself, but I forgive you. But all of the other things I just explained, I would just talk to myself, and then I would do meditations. And that was really, 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 really the turning point. When you start to give a fuck, like I mentioned in the previous episode, when you start asking questions, how did I even find out that that was my answer, for example? Because I started asking, why do I have this? What is it? Right? But I really started asking it. Like, I really was like, I want to find the answer. It wasn't just like as I was growing up that I was wondering, my God, why do I have this? And then like I go and think about, I don't know, what pasta to cook, right? Like, I also included, sorry, you guys, I'm getting out of breath. I also included some physical healing, which was steam baths. So, not a sauna, but a steam bath, because a sauna is dry. Steam baths, and I've followed a specific diet for like a month, but it wasn't that right. And then also, okay, when you have eczema, you have to make sure that you go to the bathroom, do a number 2 as often as you possibly can. But you guys, like I said, I had this since I was a little kid. The only real major transformation that changed it all for me was the self love, the self talk. And I will include a little more details on the episode number 3, because per usual, I am now tired. It is late and I am a busy woman. I need to just quit my 9 to 5 to be doing these, like, uh, but what I can tell you guys that it's pretty astounding is that you see how. So that was one layer of my lasagna, right? That was probably layer number one, and it was in my childhood. How I healed it, like I mentioned, by basically giving love to myself and telling myself I didn't need to carry so much, and I forgive myself. I didn't even know for what I was asking forgiveness, but I still did. But you do remember how in episode one I mentioned that I was still hard on myself even when I was like 27-year old, and I still wasn't very conscious of it because it was a different level of hard. It was more subtle because the lasagna layers have went down, right? So I thought that it was healed completely, but it basically represented and showed itself and manifested into my life in a different way. And that's exactly what the layers of lasagnas are. That's how we bring it all back in full circle and together, knowing that every layer is not going to look the same from the other, but it's going to have similarities. And it's because it's all, but it is going to get better each time, a little more and a little more. So it's curious how sometimes you will face a different layer, like, one every like very close to each other, and then sometimes from layer number 4 to layer number 5, 10 years will go by because that's how much your system needed to reboot. And so the manifestation in the present of me still being a little more than a little hard on myself manifested in these panic attacks, but it wasn't as painful as that skin condition. It wasn't as obvious as the skin condition because the skin condition was obvious to anybody that had a pair of eyes. Panic attacks, you can hide them if you're alone. Sometimes they don't affect my physical appearance either, which was a big, insecurity when I used to have my skin going terrible like this. I mean, I look younger now than when I was 20-year-old. So little food for thought here, just to give you guys bring it all together to exactly what I meant at the beginning of the video. Usually throughout my childhood and my teenage years, it was only on my arms, but those months that I defeated it, it appeared on my neck, on my face, near my mouth, on my eyelids, and on my shoulders. So imagine if a person would have been like, whatever it is that I'm doing right now, I gotta stop doing it because I'm seeing it's gotten so much worse. Huh. Right? Imagine if a person would have allowed that to let them be scared and stop. Well, that person was not me. I just knew that it was getting better. And I kept on going. And now my skin is like a baby's butt. I look flawless. I don't even wear foundation. I don't have no remainders of anything. And anytime I get throughout the years, it might happen like once every blue moon, like literally once every 6 months, that I might get a little dry on my eyelids. And but that's just because of my diet. And so that's when it's only physical, when it's not that dramatic, and when you know that if you change a physical aspect of it, like the diet, then it goes away. Um, so I hope that if you listen to this, and if you know a child that is suffering from skin condition like eczema and psoriasis, you know now that all they need is reassurance. All they need is to stop being so hard on themselves, probably subconsciously. They might not even know they're doing that. And everybody has a little bit of a different reason now. I'm not saying that everybody with that skin condition is going to have my exact specific reason. But once again, it's going to be around that department in the scopes of that. And but just know, if anybody has those skin conditions, they're extremely sensitive and sensible. Sensible? I don't know. They're sensitive people, and so treat them with care. And if it is a child, maybe, and you don't want to yet like overwhelm them with information, just tell them like, you are doing enough. I love you. You don't need to carry this for me. You know. Mm, yes, you guys. And now what I'm gonna do is that I am going to insert for the Dulcis in Fundo finale, if you made it up until here, you're the best and you deserve this. Because what I'm inserting now for the end of the video is another snippet from my depression episode that is quite frankly hilarious and genius at the same time. And is the perfect piece to close out this video. So I'm going to insert that right there. Before I insert that though, I'm gonna also insert this little analogy that I made some time in my recording, and then like I clipped it off about why is it so important to look at the person in the mirror and go into depth on things. But if you want to skip to this, then just skip it until you hear me sounding depressed. But I'm still gonna include it just because it's there, but it might not make a lot of sense. But yeah. Just think about doctors, for example. Like, what world would we live in if doctors would refuse to look at the symptoms? They'd be like, ew, I don't want to touch that. I don't want to see that. Ugh, you're sick. Bye. Nah. The reason why they find the cure is because they study it. They ask the questions, going back to what I mentioned on episode 1, and they look at it straight in the face. They take a goddamn microscope and look at all the details, and then they get the answer. And so the equivalent here as far as mental health goes is to really look at the person in the mirror and and take it all in, bitch. Like, just really this desire to discover oneself. Okay, grazie. Abbiamo finito, which means we're done. And now let's insert the Dulces in Fundos ending of the video.
I don't think this is really gonna help anybody. I think that probably whoever made it up this far is gonna log off like right about now. Well, that's okay. You know what? This is like art, bitches. Like, sorry, they didn't mean to call y'all bitches. I'm just like, talking a little gangster when I get. Anyways, this is like art. Oh my God, have you seen some of the art nowadays? Like, their artists put their some of it is literally just there is no image, anything. It's just a messy ass painting. It's freaking puddles of paint. Like, but I guess this is exactly what this episode is. It's just a messy ass painting. And maybe someday somebody will see such a big value in it that they're gonna buy it for $200,000, $1,000,000, right? When my 5-year-old could have done something like that. Y'all seen those moments? That shit really happens, you guys. And so this is my artistry, I guess. This is part of it, one of the many unfinished crazy genius art that I have in me that I just can't seem to stick to enough to make it be seen by enough people. Anyways, like it or not, I don't really give a fuck.